No problem. If you haven't watched Big Timber, I would recommend it. And also the amount of like, kind of like sexual jokes made because of like just the premise of the show is pretty hilarious. My fiance and I giggled like school children the entire time watching it. We have George Hill of the Bucks, Aaron Naismith, RC of the Boston Celtics, followed by Bruce Brown of the Pistons, Bogdan Bogdanovic of the Kings, and Mo Bamba of the Magic. Doug McDermott of the Pacers, Alex Caruso of the Lakers, Emmanuel Quickley of the New York Knicks going to Daniel, followed by downtown Russell Westbrook and Dennis Schroeder of the Thunder. We have Cody Zeller of the Hornets, followed by Isaiah Stewart. Isaiah Stewart, RC of the Detroit Pistons, going to Isaac right there. Followed by Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma out of 75 of the Lakers going to Meng. And then we have Zion of the Pelicans and Jeremiah Grant of the Nuggets. D'Anthony Melton of the Grizzlies, Enes Kanter of the Celtics, Jeremiah Grant of the Nuggets, Chris Dunn of the Bulls, and we had one stuck, a Vernon Carey Jr. RC of the Hornets. 1027 broke way earlier tonight. That broke way earlier this evening. I don't know if you'll be able to scroll back in the stream that far because it was like right around 8:50 probably that broke. Landry Shamet of the Clippers, Davis Bertans of the Wizards, Killian Hayes of the Detroit Pistons going to Isaac, followed by the widescreen Kawhi Leonard and Malik Beasley of the Timberwolves. And then so the full stream will be obviously live on YouTube tonight, and then the individual ones will be put up tomorrow morning sometime. We have John Wall of the Wizards, Langston Galloway of the Pistons, the Blue Anthony Davis out of 175 of the Lakers going to Meng. Then we have Furkan Korkmaz of the Sixers and JJ Redick of the Pelicans. Working on that. I don't know if we remember how to name breaks, so we're trying to figure that out. Paul George of the Clippers, Tyler Bay of the Dallas Mavericks going to Clark, followed up by Kawhi Leonard of the Clippers and a Cassius Winston Disco RC going to Clark. And then Joel Embiid of the 76ers. Eric Pascal of the Warriors, followed by Udoka Azubuike of the Utah Jazz. And then another Disco RC, this one Tyrese Halliburton of the Kings. And that is the Disco variation of the Kings, and that is going to Mike. Followed up by the Fearless Giannis of the Bucks going to Clark, and Mike Conley of the Jazz going to Jonathan. John Collins of the Hawks, Colin Sexton of the Cavs, and we have a pink, and that is going to be Harrison Barnes pink out of 50 of the Sacramento Kings going to Mike. Following that up, we have Otto Porter Jr. of the Bulls and Nikola Jokic of the Nuggets. Dylan Brooks of the Grizzlies, Robert Woodard II of the Sacramento Kings going to Mike. Followed up by Tony Snell, the Red out of 125 of the Detroit Pistons going to Isaac. And then we have Terrence Davis of the Raptors and Josh Okogie of the Timberwolves. Bogdan Bogdanovic of the Kings, Jarrett Culver of the Minnesota Timberwolves, Grant Riller of the Charlotte Hornets, Riller of the Hornets going to Mr. CEO, and Eric Gordon of the Rockets and Frank Nicotina of the Knicks. Alrighty, next up we have Eric Gordon of the Rockets, Nikola Vukovic of the Magic, Nick Richards RC of the Charlotte Hornets going to Mr. CEO, followed by the fearless LeBron James of the Lakers going to Meng. And then we have Mitchell Robinson of the Knicks. Donovan Mitchell of the Jazz, OG Anunoby of the Raptors, Shake Milton out of 175 of the 76ers going to Joey G, followed up by Troy Brown Jr. of the Wizards and Lou Williams of the Clippers. Next up, we have Alfred Payton of the Knicks, Zach LaVine of the Bulls, the Trey Jones RC of the Spurs going to Simon, Chris Dunn of the Bulls, and Anthony Davis of the Lakers. Dwight Powell of the Mavs, Ersan Ilyasova of the Bucks, the Cole Anthony RC of the Magic, going to be going to Drew, followed by Kyrie Irving of the Nets and Steven Adams of the Thunder. Marcus Smart of the Celtics, Jonathan Isaac of the Magic, Eric Gordon Silver of the Rockets, Wesley Matthews of the Bucks, and Jaren Jackson of the Grizzlies. Derek Jones of the Heat, Kelly Oubre of the Suns, the Zeke Naji RC of the Denver Nuggets going to Isaac, Bryn Forbes of the Spurs, and Tomas Satoransky of the Bulls. De'Aaron Fox of the Kings, Lonzo Ball of the Pelicans. And then we have an auto, and that is Jarrett Culver of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Jarrett Culver of the Timberwolves, and that is going to Andrew. Followed up by the throwback Kevin Durant. Throwback Kevin Durant of the Brooklyn Nets going to Shimon. And then we have Patrick Beverley of the Clippers to wrap up that break. Alrighty, let's run through this. Zeke Naji of the Nuggets going to be going to Isaac. Cole Anthony of the Magic headed to Drew. Trey Jones of the Spurs going to Simon. Nick Richards of the Hornets to Mr. CEO. Grant Riller of the Hornets to Mr. CEO. Robert Woodard of the Sacramento Kings going to Mike. Udoka Azubuike of the Jazz going to Jonathan. followed by Tyler Bay of the Mavs going to Clark. Killian Hayes of the Pistons going to Isaac. Vernon Carey Jr. of the Hornets going to Mr. CEO. Isaiah Stewart of the Pistons going to Isaac. Emmanuel Quickley of the Knicks going to Daniel. And Aaron Naismith of the Celtics going to Shimon. Alrighty, let's look at these featured cards. We have the throwback Kevin Durant, followed by 2 rookies. The Cassius Winston Disco, and then the Tyrese Halliburton rookie variation disco right there. That Cassius Winston going to Clark, Kevin Durant going to Shimon, and Tyrese Halliburton of the Kings going to Mike. And then we have our fast break RC of Jarrett Culver of the Minnesota Timberwolves going to Andrew. Going to Andrew right there. And there we have it, folks. That is the end of break 1022. And we are going